perfectly executed scam Pawn Stars. The Las Vegas pawn shop Gold and Silver Pawn Star is well known for negotiating a hard bargain. However, every now and then, they go a little too far. Other times, they appear to miss every warning sign and buy products that are either bogus or simply too expensive. From adverse expert advice to lowball bids, there's a lot to consider. On Pawn Star, there were 10 perfectly timed scams that occurred. Charles Lindbergh personal briefcase. In Season 8, a man called Mike entered the shop carrying what he thought was a Charles Lindbergh's personal briefcase. Lindbergh was the first person to fly across the Atlantic and became incredibly famous as a result. So his briefcase would be worth a lot of money. Mike asked for $85,000 but wouldn't buy it at any price without proof work. Instead, he contacted Mark Hall Patton, who is able to corroborate some of Mike's claim about how the briefcase came into his possessions, but the expert believed it belonged to Lindbergh's father. Mike's disagreed, but Rick was uninterested in the case without actual evidence. The link appeared to be there, and the initials on the suitcase could have led others to believe it belonged to the famed pilot. Unfortunately for the vendor, it wasn't enough evidence for someone with Rick's level of expertise. As a result, Mike had no choice except to leave without an agreement. Purchase of 1890s Colt 45 revolver. Rick purchased an eponymous 1890s Colt 45 revolver in Season 4's episode Peacemaker, which he claims sells better than just about any antique pistol I own. While Rick was ecstatic about the gun seller, Brian made the blunder of stating that he had purchased it for only $25. Zimmon eventually reached a deal for $3,000 without Rick even consulting his firearms expert. Sean studied the revolver afterwards. He told Rick that in its current conditions, it was worth at least $5,000, but that it might be worth a lot more depending on how uncommon this particular model was. According to the New York Times, the first ever 45 Peacemaker was constructed in 1873, was auctioned in 1987 for a whopping $242,000, and while the one Rick bought was made much later and was most likely part of a larger production line. Similar models are valued between $2,040 and $2,000. While Rick made an offer within that price range, he could have easily gone a little higher and still profited. The sale of two pole axes. While some sellers at the golden pawn shops don't know anything about the product they're trying to sell, others are so knowledgeable that an average person would believe all they say and lose a lot of money. The Pawn Stars, on the other hand, have a lot more experience. When a man named Davis bought him two pole axes he had purchased in southern Germany, Corey decided to get help of a trusted expert. Davis seems to know a lot about medieval weapons, having been a collector for 20 years. Based on the way weapons were created, he claimed that they were roughly 500 years old, but the expert made a low price. Correa was still interested in purchasing the pole axes, but Davis was unwilling to lower his price, so he walked away empty-handed, thanks to his self-assurance. However, he came close to negotiating a transaction which could have resulted in a significant loss for the pawn shop. Unfortunately for him, Correa trusted his expert despite the fact that he was not willing to take such a significant risk. Leroy Neiman painting. In Season 14, someone entered the world-renowned Gold and Silver pawn shop with a Leroy Neiman painting titled Happy Birthday, Mr. the President, which depicted the iconic occasions when Marilyn Monroe sang to President John F. Kennedy during his birthday feast while dressed provocatively. The purchaser wanted $6,000 for the artwork, but Corey decided to have an expert inspect it before making an offer. John feels the painting's high price could be approximately $7,500, while a more realistic price would be around $6,000. Corey made a lowball offer of only $20,000 based on this. Eventually, using the same argument as before, reached an argument with the customer for $3,000, meaning the man barely received half of the painting's true value, despite the fact that the shop must surely make a profit. To say that frames a picture and pay someone to sell it will cost them that much money is ludicrous. So Corey couldn't have negotiated a better deal for the guy than he did. Be sure to comment down below and let us know if we have missed something. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell to never miss an upload. Thank you very much for watching.